I mean, nothing's more important than winning our next, our next game. To us, we approach it every week like we got to get it done. Every game that week is the most important game of our lives, and that's how we like to think we approach it. But yeah, it's different when it's a in division rival and one that you've lost to, 14, whatever, how many times it is. I mean, yeah, that's really how we feel about it. You have no business losing to anyone that many times in a row. So, it's about going out there and playing now and proving that. I mean, if you can't wake up for the rivalry games, something's wrong. I mean, it's it's bigger than you. That's the way to really look at it. I know that's how we looked at it in Ohio, and that's kind of how I look at it here. There's been dudes for 50, 60 years in this organization put in to beat the Patriots, whether they did it while they were playing or not. But it's our job to uphold, what they started building, and yeah, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, maybe they do, like you said, they do a great job of whatever they set their mind to. They're going to do that week, and I don't know what it may be this week. I like to think of myself as not going to make it as easy on them as they think, and that's just point blank period for me. But if they do a good job, then all right, they do a good job. So we got a lot of other weapons, and I'm not worried. We got a great plan to take advantage of any look they give us.
Garrett, do you think the weather could play a role Sunday? It's supposed to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, I did see that. For sure. That's reality. We both got to deal with it. So we got to handle it better than them. Personally, I got to handle it better than whoever's guarding me, and that's how I look at it. Hopefully to make some body catches, whatever it takes to finish with the ball. But yeah, if it does come down like that, it'll definitely play a factor, and it's our job to adjust. We're pro athletes, pro football players. We got to look good. It can't be a slop fest out there.
Are you more vocal this year than you were last year? Is your role changing?
Yeah, maybe it's it changed. I think that kind of just comes with the time and the reps and being out there in front of my teammates more than I was at that time last year. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, for me, it always just comes from a place of I want to win. I want to win every game. I want to win. I feel like I have a good idea of where we can be at, and yeah, man, that's where all that comes from. My emotion, how I talk to my teammates, whatever it may be. It all comes from a place of just a competitor, and I think they understand that. I didn't feel like maybe they understood that last year, so maybe I was a little bit more. When it came out the wrong way or something. It might have came on too strong or something. This year it's just more calculated. I'll say like, all right, we did this. Let's talk about it. But yeah, just my teammates knowing me better. A lot of different things play into that. But yeah, you're not wrong. I feel like I'm more comfortable for sure.
Yeah, your teammates have described you as one of the most passionate players they've been around. Just where did they come from? Just that passion.
I mean, it's
just the want to win.
I think it just comes from how I was raised, man. My dad always said, finish what you started, and you can kind of take the quotes like that. A lot of other quotes, but you can take quotes like that and kind of manipulate it and turn it any way you want. And for me, it's just like I'm here. How can I maximize the situation? Everyone knows I hate losing. That started when I was, 0. But people hate losing, people love winning, and you gotta, differentiate the two. Like, I hate losing, so it's like it's different. You love winning, but then it's like, oh, the losing ain't that bad. But you love winning, but you got to like choose one side, and I feel like I'm on the side where it's just I hate losing, and the winning is like that's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just say it always comes from that, man. I hold myself to a high standard. I've never really needed anyone to tell me you're not doing this, you're not doing that, right, to maximize yourself. Here and there, it's a few things there and in between that will argue that, but for the most part, man, it's always just been me internally motivated, and it never was about anything on the outside, So for me, it's always been about just reaching my potential, and that all comes from internally, and yeah, like you said, my teammates will say that about me now, but last year I didn't feel like they knew that yet, just because I had just got there. So it's awesome to hear they say that, and I like to think it's true. I know how I play the game and approach it, and yeah. I've always had that passion, and I think last year when I initially got here, I wasn't playing like I wanted to, wasn't playing as good as I wanted to, so it came off a different way. It came off in frustration and me not, making the plays that I was used to making. And now, I'm more confident in my play. I'm more confident, and I am making the plays. So now we can talk about ball. I don't have to be separated from the you know, just because I know how I am, so I would be like, let me go stand up here before I say something. You know, that's just the reality of it for me. And yeah, it's just being more comfortable all the way around. You know, there's a lot of factors, but that's the main factor, just being comfortable with your teammates and them being comfortable with you. You know.